It's your boy Amreezy, and I'm back with another Road to Sorare Boss episode where we follow my journey on Sorare from beginner to hopefully eventually Sorare Boss. Now, been playing for about 6 months and approaching 7 months, possibly 7 months now. And anyway, still at the early stages, still at the beginner stages. And one thing I've kind of learned last week is that so with these new roadmap changes with Sora, everything's been split into sort of the divisions. You've got the contender, champion, challenger, those divisions. It took me until that got rolled out to kind of see, okay, this is where my gameplay needs to change. This is where I need to strengthen. These are the missing pieces I have. And these are the cards that I don't need. Mainly the ones that I'd kind of been accumulating for the capped leagues, mainly cap 240. So when the threshold changed in cap 240, I then kind of realized it's not worth it for me. You know, the lowest price and the threshold is $2. It wasn't really worth it for me. So I'm now in this weird transition period where I'm trying to move away from the capped leagues into I've got a kind of team for contender because I've got a lot of Mexican cards. But the problem is, as you'll see when I review last week's performance in this video, the problem is they're not good enough yet. And there's other people in the contender leagues that are better. So while I'm not getting relegated in that league, you know, I've still got quite a good league for contender. I kind of am just hitting and hoping for that and really targeting weeks where they have good fixtures. And in Champion, I've got these Chelsea cards. I've got these Premier League cards. I've got really nowhere to play them now. I can still play them in the capped leagues. So I think what my tactic is going forward, and this is still going to change because basically I'm going to deposit some more money and buy some more cards. But I'm kind of thinking I should do that at the end of the Premier League season when the prices come down. It doesn't really make sense for me to buy them now when it's kind of Premier League season's only got, 8 or 7 games left. And then those cards could drop massively in price. So I'm thinking of going for Champion and Premier League possibly next season. And for now, playing the capped leagues while they're here till August, which will be when the Premier League season next season starts. And in that time, basically phase away from the capped leagues, move towards Champion, Premier League, and Contender. So that's kind of my loose strategy. If you've not seen my videos before, basically my history has been playing with the capped leagues while I got started on Sorare. Now I kind of understand the game. I think I need to start moving more towards Champion, Premier League, and Contender. So that's going to be where I'm kind of going, as well as U23. So let's start this video by taking a look at how I did last week, and I'll gradually talk about my tactics and my thinking as we go through the video. So let's start off this video by looking at how I did last week, which was April the 5th to 9th. Okie dokie, here's how I did in last weekend, which was April the 5th to the 9th. There is a midweek game week going on right now, April 9th to 12th. But I didn't really have anything to report back from there. It was another midweek where there was European football. I didn't have any of those teams to line up, so I just put a few teams out for XP building bonuses. Where I actually played some serious teams was last weekend, April the 5th to the 9th. And the first one was my first ever contender team. I entered an in-season contender team. I got 276 points. I finished 1,600th. I didn't get promoted. I didn't get relegated. I didn't win anything. I just stayed in the division. Very boring. And already one thing I'm thinking about is, should I be entering in-season when my in-season cards aren't amazing? Should I perhaps be going for Classic, where the reward pool is a bit greater? And even though I can't win cash there, I can win cards. And that's probably more useful to me, is to win possibly some cards. So possibly next time I enter Contender, I won't be focusing so much on in-season and might be going for Classic, because I kind of have a lot of in-season cards because I've got quite a few Mexican cards that I bought this season in the auctions. Now, most of those are Santos cards. And if I'm being honest, Santos probably won't make the playoff stage of the Mexican season, which means their season is going to end really soon for Santos, which is going to be a big problem for my contender team, which means I'm probably not going to have much more in-season contenders because, for example, my goalkeeper is the Santos goalkeeper. Once his season's over, we're not going to be able to enter a contender because I do have another contender goalkeeper, but I use him in the under-23 league. So unless I pick up another card, I kind of am happy just to wait with the contenders. Yes, I might not be able to enter as many teams, but I don't think my cards are good enough to sort of challenge the tops of these leagues. I'll still enter when I have enough teams that have a good lineup. When I have sort of like, oh, Santos have a really good game this week at home against one of the struggling teams, then I'll enter contender. But for now, I think I'm only going to enter contender when I've got a good chance. Like I thought I had at the weekend. The Santos team, they drew 1-1 with America. Wasn't great. Necaxa, I was hoping for better for Necaxa. I doubled up on Necaxa. I thought they had a good chance of getting some points. Alan Montez, 60. Brian, 45. Not great from them. Soleil always delivers a good score. Soleil, he did his part. Even though they didn't keep a clean sheet, he still got a 72 score. And they're not going to have games that hard this week. I am seeing a lot of reports again with the end of the season approaching that Inter Milan wants Soleil. Possibly some Premier League teams are looking at Soleil. This happens every transfer window. People want Soleil. He doesn't move. He stays. He'll eventually move. But for now, he's staying at RB Salzburg where he can get me good scores. So he did well. And then my gamble, Cade Cowell. I'm struggling with strikers. I've got not good strikers in any of my divisions, it seems. My best striker used to be Raheem Sterling when he was scoring a few weeks ago. Now he doesn't play for Chelsea. My under-23 strikers aren't doing well. My other top striker and contender was Preciado at Santos. He's now been banned from football for drugs ban. So strikers are just a bit of a... They're ruining our weeks. I mean, once again, it was the worst score this week, Cade Cowell. So, I just got to hope he's young. He picks up some form eventually. Or with all my under 23 strikers, I've just got to hope that really. So nothing to report from in season. Under 23 league, goalkeeper didn't really deliver. Udogi didn't deliver again at Spurs. Chelsea were playing Sheffield United on the back of beating Manchester United. I thought Chelsea might have some momentum once again. Chelsea let me down again. Let's not talk too much about that. Conor Gallagher did okay, but Enzo Fernandez, I captained the wrong one. He didn't really do anything this week. Conor Gallagher is looking very lively for Chelsea. With Nkunku still out for a while, I think Conor Gallagher has that number 10 role pretty much his. He takes corners, so he's popping up with a few goals as well, Conor Gallagher lately. So I think he's a good pick for me. He's a good card. I've just got to surround him with other good picks. So wasn't to be. And then once again, striking problems for the under-23s. I went for this guy at Sparta Rotterdam, who is being eased back from an injury. He's not playing games. He's not starting games, but he's coming off the bench every week. And he didn't do anything this week, but I've kind of just got to keep going. I've got him. I've got Cade Cowell. I've got all of these under 23 strikers. I've just got to keep going with all of them, keep building the XP on all of them and hoping one of them smashes soon and gets into the team and starts delivering regularly. So, bit of a disappointment with the under 23s. I am still looking for a striker for the under 23s. We'll see who pops up. I'm doing a lot of trades at the moment. I do have my eyes on a few people, but for now, nothing to report. And then capped 220 league, I entered just as a punt, really. Santos goalkeeper was a DMP goalkeeper. My Eduard Atuesta card at LAFC. He's been doing well lately, but didn't really do that much this week. Jairo Torres, another striker in Mexico at Juarez. Now seems to be injured. Could miss the rest of the season with an injury. Horrible news because I just brought him a few weeks ago. Now he's injured. So once again, I'm cursed with strikers. Another striker who's going to be dropping out for the end of the season at Mexico. Badi Chile, nothing to report there. And Beste, of course, delivers. Mr. Consistent. Playing against Bayern Munich. They beat Bayern Munich. I did say in my last video last week, he did well against Bayern Munich earlier on in the season. Once again, he did well. Got an assist, I think. Was it just an assist or did he get a goal as well? Best there, just a solid card. Came through with an assist. So yeah, he did well. But that's how I did last weekend. In general, the kind of vibe is the new contender, champion, challenger leagues aren't really working out for my gallery. I need to... I think I can't play them that seriously this season. I think I need to work on buying new cards for next season and really go for it next season. I'm going to use the summer break when the European leagues end. Hope the card prices come down. They should come down. They have traditionally dipped in price at the end of the season. Like, for example, all the people playing in-season Premier League now, I'm hoping at the end of the season, they all want to sell their cards and the prices come down and I can use them in Classic next season. So that's been the lesson this week. I need to keep playing the capped leagues and the under-23 league and the contender when I have a good tight team. If it's not a good lineup for contender, it's just a waste of time me entering contender. and especially until the end of August, where there's no relegations if you don't enter a team. I think I just need to be playing the Contender League when I have a really good lineup. If I don't, I need to just focus on the capped leagues, because I think the capped leagues might get a bit easier because everyone's going to be focusing on the new champion contender lineups. So maybe the capped leagues have more of a chance of me winning. And also, my gallery suits still the capped leagues. Even though I've been getting rid of some of those cards lately and swapping them for Santos and Chelsea cards to build up my collection bonuses, I still think I've got enough cards there for the capped league. So that's going to be my strategy going forward. Let's take a quick look at some new cards that I bought. I've not bought many cards. Like I said, my balance is down at 0. I'm only really going to be picking up cards if I can trade them. And I think last week I'd bought these cards, Zachariah at Chelsea and Thiago Silva at Chelsea. Since last week's video, these have been my 2 new additions. Another Santos card I picked up in auction to help with my Santos collection, which is now at 3%. And another Chelsea card, which I swapped. I traded him today, actually, before I recorded this video. A few hours ago, I traded Broha at Chelsea, who's an under-23 striker. He's not probably going to play much this season. However, I think there's a player there still. He's been very unlucky with his loan at Fulham. He basically went on loan to Fulham to play, and it just so happened, as he went on loan, Santiago Munoz, not Santiago Munoz, he's a Santos striker, the Brazilian at Fulham, he just started playing really well. And he's kept Broja out of the team. And I think the manager at Fulham, he can't really play Broja because he's on loan. He doesn't really care too much about his development. He'd only been brought in as a kind of fix while Raul Jimenez is injured. It turns out Fulham have somebody else instead for Jimenez now, who's been playing much better. And unfortunately for Broja, the loan's not going to work out. However, next season, I see him getting another loan or a transfer away from Chelsea. I think if the scouts doing their jobs, he's still got a Premier League career in him. He could still play for a team like Fulham, who need a striker, who want to take a chance on a striker. Maybe one of the promoted teams next season. Maybe a team like Everton or Bournemouth. Maybe if Bournemouth lose Eisen Tony, they bring in Broja. I still think there's a card there. So I traded Broja in for a bunch of my cards that I didn't need. And I think the guy who sold me Broja kind of was in a position where he was like, why have I got this card? I don't need this guy anymore. I was like, he helps with my Chelsea bonuses, helps with my Chelsea collection. Plus, I do think there's a player there. I do think next season he could be a card. So he's more of a long-term trade that I made. And then this boy at Santos is just mainly to keep the 50p, keep my bonuses. He gets a game now and again. He comes off the bench now and again, and he is a striker. So I am half thinking, you know, I've got a lot of problems with strikers. Maybe he becomes a striker in the future for Santos. Who knows? If not, helps with my bonuses. I am building out my 2 teams here, Santos and Chelsea. Santos from this season, in season for about 2 more weeks. Let's get the fireworks going. Santos going for about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and Chelsea from last season. So they're my 2 most serious collection that I'm working on. So basically what I'm doing with my capped players is I'm trying to trade them for players in these leagues. So I've got a couple of holes missing in this Chelsea team. These are the holes I'm trying to fill. A couple of these cards I do want for like Mason Mount, for example. I think, you know, if he gets back in the Man United team, if Man United change the manager and get someone like Graham Potter in, which has been rumoured, Mason Mount could be back in the first team next season. So I'm looking at bringing in Mason Mount possibly for next season. A lot of my thinking in Sorare right now is for next Premier League season. Kepa in goal, £6 for a Kepa keeper. Maybe next season he gets a move when he comes back from Chelsea. I don't think Real Madrid are going to want him full time, especially because Courtois should be back next season. So where does Kepa go next season? Probably back to Spain, maybe another Premier League team. He's one that I'm kind of looking at. Mason Mount could get some games next season. So there's a few Chelsea cards within this collection I don't have that I kind of think they could be good cards possibly next season if they move. Cards like Aubameyang, Jorginho, they're getting games in other teams. So I'm looking at those players and I'm looking at Santos cards this season. I've got my bonus up to 3% on Santos this season. I've only got a few missing pieces now. One is this guy, Omar Campos, playing at LAFC. Got my eyes on him. Could have a nice little stack with him and Atuesta for LAFC. There's a few other cards here. Brunetta card, I think, is here as well. Where's my Brunetta here? He's a little bit overpriced at the moment, but maybe in the offseason, maybe if his value comes down, I look at getting him. So that's my kind of tactics. I'm mainly building towards next season now and trying to get a few wins in the capped leagues, under 23 leagues, maybe if I can before then. So that's how I did last week. That's how my gallery is looking. Let's now take a look at my kind of teams that I'm building for this weekend coming. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. These are my teams for April the 12th to the 16th, the weekend coming up. They do have a special weekly competition, so for Liverpool fans. I don't have any Liverpool in-season cards. I think you need 2 minimum cards in-season for Liverpool to enter this. I don't have that. That's not for me. Champion, again, so I've put on screen the fixtures that are kind of most relevant for me in my kind of week. Chelsea, Everton would be a good fixture for me to target if I had a full stack of Chelsea cards. If I had a goalkeeper, if I had a striker that wasn't Sterling, I could enter in Champion. I could enter in the Premier League competition. I don't have that. So, this is once again a lesson for me where this is kind of a good week for me. If I had those cards, I could enter a Chelsea stack and, Everton at home, maybe if Chelsea were playing a bit better, maybe if they had a different manager. Next season, it could be a good play for me. So when the summer break happens, that's why I need a Chelsea goalkeeper, a Chelsea striker to go along with my Chelsea defenders and midfielders that I have. So can't really enter champion or challenger this week once again. Contender. I could enter contender with my Mexican cards, with a few of my other European cards, mix them together. But I've looked at the teams this week and I just don't have any good lineups. I could put a team in the Classic or the in-season. I don't feel confident in that. I don't feel like I have enough good squad players. So they're going to be going in once again, the under-23 league and the capped leagues. Under-23 league is my priority. So we're going with Obed in goal for Paris FC. He's got an okay fixture. It is away. A lot of my fixtures this week are away, which I don't like. These 3 cards all have away fixtures. I'm just going to have to roll the dice on them. I don't have another goalkeeper in my under-23 list anyway. So Obed's going to have to get a game. Soleil, yes, it's away, but it's an easier fixture than last week. It is on a Friday, which I don't like, the Friday curse. But even, he's shown last week, even when he doesn't keep a clean sheet, Soleil is good for 70 plus points anyway. So hoping from something from Soleil. Chelsea, doubling up on Chelsea again in the under-23 league. Conor Gallagher and Enzo Fernandez, 2 great cards. Conor Gallagher is going to be my captain because I've realized in the last game against Sheffield United, he was on corners, playing a bit more further forward than Enzo Fernandez. So Conor Gallagher will be captain. Enzo Fernandez in there as well. Everton at home. Great chance for Chelsea to kind of give us another peak where we think, we can build onto momentum and then let us down the following week. So hopefully with the rule of Chelsea's kind of season, good game, bad game, good game, bad game, maybe we'll get a good game this week. Who knows? And then Kamil Nejli at Sparta Rotterdam. I'm not expecting him to start this game. He's not been starting games recently. However, he has been coming off the bench lately. He doesn't just get 5 minutes. They are giving him, some good game time. Let's take a little deeper look into this guy. So I've got problems with my strikers. It's either him, João Torres is suspended for the season, Santiago Munoz only comes off the bench for Santos and doesn't look super convincing when he comes off the bench, and Broja, my new card, isn't getting any games for Fulham anytime soon. So Kamil Nejli at Sparta Rotterdam, he's played 4 games, come off the bench in all 4. How many minutes is he getting? 24 minutes he's been getting. So he's getting an okay amount of time, 29 minutes. He's coming on around the 60-minute mark, and he scored in this game. Scored against Fortuna. It's a good fixture this week, an away fixture, but it's a good game against Almere City. They're kind of lower to mid-table. So my hope is that he delivers. I don't really have many better striking options anyway, so we've got to roll the dice on him. That's my under-23 league. My capped leagues that I'm going to be entering are the cap 270 and the cap 220. Basically, I'm not wasting my time anymore with the 240. That $2 threshold isn't worth chasing when if I do well in the 270, I can get a better card reward or a better prize. So 270, I'm feeling quite good about the 270. It looks okay for me, the 270. We've got Bilal in goal, which an okay fixture against Adana Demirspor Kulubu. He's had a week or two off. He's back in the team. We haven't played with him for 2 weeks. So he's back, hopefully rested, hopefully a good performance from him. Andy Robertson, Crystal Palace at home. Can't say no to that. Gonna captain Andy Robertson. Then we've got Best there, who's playing Bochum away. Bochum are not a good team in Germany, so good chance for him to deliver some points. It is an away fixture, which is why I'm not captaining him. I'm torn on captaincy between Yannicklis Best and Andy Robertson. I just think Liverpool are really going to go for that Palace game. And Palace don't score that many goals, so there's a good chance of a clean sheet for Robertson and attacking returns. So might change my mind last minute, but I think it's going to be Andy Robertson. Up front, again, we're struggling with strikers. It's going to be Aguirre from Atlas. They're playing Leon, who are kind of below the playoff positions. I just don't have many striking options, so Aguirre is going to get the game. And then Josh Cullen at Burnley. Let's first take a look at the striking options to just show you what I'm talking about. Raheem Sterling is the only other serious striker that I could pick, but I just don't fancy Raheem Sterling to start. So it's going to have to be Aguirre because he at least starts. He's gone off the boil a little bit. Atlas haven't been playing well this season. He's gone off the boil since his kind of good start here. A couple of 30s. It's a hit and a hope. It's a punt, but I don't have any better strikers at the moment. I need to sign some more strikers. And then Josh Cullen is my kind of extra pick. I'm going for Burnley. I signed Josh Cullen 2 weeks ago because I've seen Burnley have some okay performances, and I just think he's a really good player in the midfield for them. I kind of signed him because I think if Burnley get relegated, he should leave because he's a good player. If there's any scouts watching Burnley, Josh Cullen, he moves the ball well, he picks the ball up a lot in midfield. He's kind of like their Enzo Fernandez. Spreads the ball about, drops deep, always asking for the ball, always getting the ball. And lately, he's the captain as well, captain of Burnley. Lately, look at these scores, a 60 and 90. So I'm hoping Burnley are really fighting for their Premier League survival. This happens with the promoted teams, the promoted teams, when they're kind of not yet relegated. Even some of the relegated teams, the last couple of games of the season, the relegated teams, they give you surprise performances. So Burnley haven't been great, but I'm hoping they finish the season strong. He's given me enough to kind of think, he could do something here. Brighton at home. Brighton have kind of, they're in that weird position where it seems like they're not going to get European football now. They're not going to get relegated. They're kind of coasting now, Brighton, till the end of the season. Maybe the manager's not going to be in next season. Maybe that's affecting the players. Either way, I'm gambling on Burnley. Josh Cullen. I will say one of the Burnley strikers, Fofana, is on loan from Chelsea. There is a Chelsea card of him from last season, the collection I'm building. There is a little part of me that's thinking, do I buy, and I might do this next week, do I buy him for the last few Burnley fixtures, helps with my Chelsea collection, and maybe he gets on the end. I'm going to be watching this Burnley game quite closely this week, seeing how Fofana does, seeing if he's a good striker, because I need a striker. So for the end of the season, maybe Fofana at Burnley, I could team him up with Josh Cullen at Burnley, have a mini Burnley stack and just kind of gamble that they finish the season strong. But it doesn't sound that good. I'm banking on Burnley. So that's why it's not going to work in a Champion League or the Premier League. But for cap 270, for cap 220, that could be a good strategy. So that's going to be my team for 270. And then the last lineup I'm putting out this week is 220. Santos goalkeeper, Acevedo. Santos winger, Sordo. He's expected to play because the other Santos winger, Medina's injured or he's a fitness doubt. So maybe Medina plays. If he doesn't, Sordo is expected to come into the team. So he is a striker that I have, even though he plays as a midfielder. He's down as a forward, the card I have. So maybe he gets a game. Santos have a good game. They are playing the Caxa, which isn't the best fixture. It's, Necaxa are better than Santos. However, beggars can't be choosers. And it is the 220. So I've kind of struggled here to fit some teams with low L15s. Chalobah at Chelsea, I'm going to be playing against Everton. He might not play. However, when Chalobah has played this season, he's played well. And I'm a big fan of Chalobah. I think he deserves to be playing. I don't know if he will play because Pochettino's got Thiago Silva, Badiashile, Disasi. He's got 4 options he could pick. He could even play Cucurella at centre-back if he wanted. I don't think he would do that. But he's got 4 options at centre-back. I think Chalobah deserves to play. I think Chalobah's got a good future. He could leave Chelsea, could go to another team, be a big player. I like Chalobah as a player. I hope he plays. So that's why he's in this team, in case Pochettino sees the light and plays Chalobah. João Palhinha, good card here against West Ham away, though. Not fully certain on the fixture. What I'm hoping here is that West Ham are concentrating on Europe midweek and that they're a bit tired for the Fulham fixture. Fulham, hit and miss this season. You never really know what you're going to get from Fulham. So hopefully they turn up this week. And Palhinha, if they do, is a good bet from Fulham to do well. And then Rashica from Besiktas is going to be my captain because they've got a nice fixture against, if you look at the fixtures, I've not quite put the full text because it didn't fill in, but Samunspor Kulubu, or Samunus, as I put in the fixtures on screen. Nice fixture for him, home fixture. He's going to be my captain, mainly because apart from the Chelsea player, which I don't really want to back, he's the only guy who's got a home fixture. So that's what I'm going for my 220. So they're my teams for this coming game week. Good luck with your game weeks, everyone. Like and subscribe to the video. Leave me any comments, any tips in the comments. Big help for me. Good luck with your game weeks. Peace.